Let me take you somewhere for a second. It's late. You're walking alone down a quiet path in the woods. It's not pitch black, there's a bit of moonlight, but it's dark enough, and it's just you. Now be honest, do you feel that slight shift? That little bit of tension? Maybe you find yourself looking over your shoulder, glancing into the trees, just checking that there's definitely nothing there. Even though, rationally, you know there probably isn't. That feeling, that's your gut instinct. And the strange thing is, most of the time in modern life, we've learned to ignore it. Because the truth is, we don't really need our instincts anymore. You wake up, your food's already there, your day is planned out, you're not relying on your gut to survive. So over time, we start to push it down. We second guess it, we ignore it. Until one day, it shows up again. And suddenly you feel it. That quiet voice that says, hang on a minute, something's not quite right here. And maybe you felt that before. Have you ever met someone and straight away something just felt off about them? You couldn't explain it. You couldn't point to anything specific. Everyone just seemed to be fine with it. But you just had this feeling. I don't know what it is, but something's not quite right. I had that happen a few years ago. A group of us met up and someone new came along. And as soon as they walked into the room, there was just something. It's hard to explain properly. But it was almost like they brought in a weight with them. Like, when they walked in, the room got a little bit smaller. The air was a bit heavier. Everyone kind of noticed it, but no one really said anything. We just carried on. And afterwards, I remember thinking to myself, there's just something about that. But then time went on, I saw them again, got to know them a bit more, and started to think, maybe I was wrong. They actually do seem all right. And I kind of convinced myself that my gut was just overreacting. But then, a long time later, a few things happened and that same feeling came back. And I realised my first instinct wasn't actually that far off from the truth. Not because they were a bad person, but because something about them never quite aligned. Sometimes your gut isn't saying this person is bad. Sometimes it's just saying this isn't for you. And at the time, there's that saying that always comes to mind, don't judge a book by its cover. And that's true, because we've all met people who didn't come across well at first, but turned out to be some of the nicest people we know. Maybe they were shy. Maybe they were just having a bad day. Or perhaps you caught them when they were just at the wrong moment. So your gut is not always right, but it's not always meaningless either. It's not a final answer. It's more like a vague signal, a direction. Your gut isn't there to decide for you. It's just there to get your attention and give you a little hint. And sometimes that signal is incredibly important. Imagine you're out somewhere at night. Someone comes up to you and says, hey, my friend's just down that alley. They're not feeling great. Can you help me? On the surface, that sounds reasonable. But something in you just doesn't feel right about it. And before you even properly think about it, you already know what your answer's going to be. And that's not just logic. That is instinct. That's your brain picking up on things you haven't consciously processed yet. Sometimes your gut speaks before your thoughts catch up. And it's not just about danger. It shows up in smaller ways too. Like when you know someone really well and one day they're just not quite themselves. You can't explain it. They say they're fine. But something feels off and you feel it straight away. That's your gut again. Picking up on tiny changes, tone, posture, energy, things you haven't even consciously noticed. And most of the time, it's not just random. It's pattern recognition. I remember when I was learning to drive, my instructor used to say something to me all the time. She'd say, you knew what to do there. You should have trusted your gut. And she was right. There were so many moments where I'd get that instinct, that split-second decision, and then I'd hesitate. I'd overthink it. And because I didn't trust that initial instinct, I would make a mistake. But now, after driving for years, you just know. You can look at a car, and before it's even moved, you just know it's going to pull out in front of you. That doesn't feel like the instinct. But that's exactly what it is. And it's the same thing. Your gut gets stronger the more you learn to listen to it. Because all of this comes from somewhere. We've evolved to notice these things, to sense danger, to pick up on patterns. It's how we've survived. Even if we don't need it anymore, it's still there. You can't just shut that off. But here's the important part. Just because you feel something doesn't mean you should blindly follow it either. Because we're not animals. We're not just based on instinct. We're capable of critical thinking. We can pause. We can question things. And that's what separates us from animals. Sometimes your gut says, this isn't safe. But actually, you're just in the dark. Sometimes it says, be careful. But really, it's just fear. Like being scared of spiders or feeling uneasy in a quiet place. Not every instinct is accurate. So it's not about trust your gut no matter what. And it's not about ignoring it completely. It's about learning to read it, finding that middle ground to listen to it, but not hand it full control. Because the more you understand it, the more you start to trust yourself. Not just your instincts, but your own judgment. And that's kind of where real confidence comes from. So next time you feel that little nudge, that sense that something's not quite right, don't just ignore it. Don't run from it either. Just pause and ask yourself, is this instinct or is this fear? I'd be interested to know, do you feel like you trust your gut or do you find yourself second guessing it? And if you like this kind of thing, you'll probably like the next one. So stick around.